My favourite musical decade is the 70s. Specifically rock music, I just think it was really good at that time. And then you've got like soft rock and soft pop like Hall & Oates, and it's just kick-ass.
My favorite musical decade is definitely the 80s.
Probably one of my favourite decades at the moment in terms of music-wise would be the 1990s. With guys around, like Brian McKnight and Boyz II Men, when, R&B was becoming, the hip thing around then. And yeah, boy bands were massive as well.
I'd probably say like the 2000s when like the indie rock boom kind of happened. When like Phoenix and like The Strokes and all those bands came out, like Arctic Monkeys and like the whole indie rock thing. It's probs my favorite and my biggest influence, yeah.
I think my favorite musical decade is now 2010 to 2020. I love artists such as Niels Fram and many other composers that compose the games that are just coming out, such as like, you've got Skyrim and you've got all these crazy games like The Witcher, the soundtracks that go along to these games. I don't know, I just love the style. It's good.
I like the 1500s.
1990s!
My favorite era will be the Romantic period. I love Chopin.
My favorite era of music, I think, is the 1920s, because you get a good crossover of jazz and musical theatre and classical in the 20s. Yeah.
My favorite musical decade is 70s. That's Queen. They're very fun to sing along to, and I quite enjoy the 90s as well, where the Red Hot Chili Peppers derived from. I really worship Chad Smith's drum style. That's the foundation of everything that I do as a musician, my inspiration, but then it goes vast beyond that.
Decade, definitely the 90s. 1990s is really good. So many great guitarists came out. I mean, Chili Peppers, John Mayer, all those kind of stuff, man.
My favorite musical decade is the 90s, mainly because a lot of R&B, a lot of neo soul that got introduced, a lot of iconic artists like Erykah Badu, Nina Simone, but as well that I did grow up in the 80s as well, so it's just a major impact in my studies. But yeah, in the 90s definitely.
My favourite musical decade is the 80s, 100%. You got rise of the band Metallica, absolute favourite, and blues legend Stevie Ray Vaughan, absolute legend all time.
Probably either the 60s or the 40s or the 50s or the 30s.